Chu, my name is Daitzakam, otherwise known as Victoria Wells. I come from the Ihatasat tribe, one of the tribes that make up the Nuchalnath Nation. Images based on native art seem to be everywhere in North American culture, not just confined to museums and galleries. You see them on the logos of sports teams and advertising everything from cars to t-shirts. For us, art is more than just something interesting to look at. Images are connected to songs, songs are connected to families, and families are connected to a place. Everything has history. Everything has a name. In our art lives a visual representation of who we are and where we come from. The role of artists in our community is a very important one. They must be able to create images that reflect not only our history, but also our spirituality. In this program, we are going to visit the Heshkwit tribe, one of the tribes that make up the Nuchalnath Nation. Here on the west coast of Vancouver Island is the village of Heshkwit. This place and these people are rich in history and tradition. The legends, songs, and history are passed on orally from generation to generation, and it is the elders of the tribe that hold and teach this knowledge. In the village of Heshkwit lived a very special person. Her name was Alice Paul. She was a woman of great knowledge and generosity. She, along with her son Larry, who acted as translator, shared a great deal of the history and tradition of the Heshkwit people. One legend is how their family came to have the sea serpent dance.
We're living inside the harbor somewhere in Heshkwit, and this lady was making that rope, cedar rope. She had a great big pile there. All of a sudden something started to rattle somewhere where her rope was. And out came the sea serpent, just, just making a noise there. Came up out of the floor. Whenever they seen something, it sort of give her a yell like she was saying, hey, something would drop off from the thing, And she said some kind of a scale or whatever it was she got. This is how they used to become something powerful, because they got a piece of something from the thing that they seen, So they got their song now, and sea serpent hatred.
Alice passed away, her son Larry and the family gathered to plan a feast, or what is commonly known as a memorial potlatch, to honor her. Heshquit artist Tim Paul was called upon to paint a curtain that would outline the family history.
Being part of the family, and my Aunt Alice and my cousin Larry Paul asked if I could do this curtain for them, and being an artist, I have to sit down and talk to them about this history. A curtain is family history, and it deals with really what comes from that house and from that one family. There's also 5 wolves, on the curtain. Was it 5?
Yeah. I think that's what my mother was saying, that's how many they have in their family, where we sit here on this reserve, this house here. 5. She was naming where they all came from or how they got that much. 5. Yeah.
Mm. We look at the art. There's something else there that is much deeper for our chief, for our elders, and for Larry. And I think it's if we look at that spirituality, that spirituality to me is first.
When I talked with Auntie Alice, when we first drew out the sketch, what I was seeing is the specialness of our people and what they went through, and the special moments that they seemed to be given something extra, like a miracle, you might say, like our grandmother coming across this island and being brought home by wolves, brought home. And that, to me, is a very spiritual thing, that she asked for help, and she was given and brought home. And that's what I seem to get out of it, and it tells a history of the good things that have happened to this family.
A family approaches you to really do something for them. You do this with the goodness, and you're right from the bottom of your heart and soul. You do it with the very best of goodwill and from the bottom of your heart. So when a family approaches you, you have to sit down and be very clear yourself, of the history, of the figures on the curtain. Be very aware of how this works with what's going to be brought out. Say for this curtain, May 22nd, the songs, the dances, the headdresses that are going to be used. So that's very important. It's just not a family approaching you and saying, "Can you do this for me?" You make yourself very aware by sitting down with the elders. It's a role and responsibility that we take very seriously. I take very seriously. The 2 figures on this curtain now are going to be 2 serpents that my Aunt Alice talked about a while back when she wanted the curtain done, and it's really about 2 serpents that came from under the floor while cedar bark was being made.
Most of the Heshquit people live at Hot Springs Cove. A date was set for the potlatch, and the Heshquit people began to prepare. Trips were made into the forest nearby to collect cedar bark.
Peeling the outer layer of the bark of the inside park here we use for dancing equipment, like skirts, sashes for the singers, headbands, or the ladies can use it for baskets, matting, just everyday things we use, I guess.
In the village of Hot Springs, there is a great deal of activity as everyone pitches in to help and make the cedar bark dancing equipment, such as skirts, capes, sashes, and headbands. Working with cedar and other types of grasses to make clothing and baskets is an art form which has been passed on from generation to generation. Each family has its own special designs.
What you see right here is just peeled off the tree, and I can use it actually, I think the next day after it's dried off. It takes a while to learn how to do that, stripping the cedar off the bark. Our grandmother taught us how to weave. I was only 8 years old. My sister at 6 years old.
Back in his studio in Port Alberni, Tim Paul and a young carver, Buddy George, are working on 5 masks which were requested by the band for a dance that will be performed at the potlatch.
And I take very seriously taking on young upcoming artists to be a part of it. We have to really learn that art of giving back to our community, back to our elders. So my responsibility as an artist and carver really goes beyond producing, that very sea serpent or that very wolf. My connection is to those people and families in the community from Hot Springs, from Heshkut. It's being there with them when they perform or when they practice. They're bringing out those songs. So I have a sense, of really what all of this is about. This will come out after again too. This here. So I don't think we'll really paint really much of anything, really the eyebrows, eyes, and that's it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's that other.
As the date of the potlatch draws near, the Heshquit people who live in other communities travel to Hot Springs to take part in rehearsals. Since Hot Springs is not accessible by road, this can be a long and expensive journey for some. But when the drums start beating and the excitement builds, it is an opportunity for the Heshquit people to gather together to honor Alice Paul and celebrate their own culture.
I'd like to start off by thanking my mom, Angela, Betty Mae, April, Marilyn, Gert, and all the ones that are helping in to pitch in to get the costumes ready. These are the people you cherish, not the ones that say, oh, I got mine made already. I don't need to help you. That's not the attitude. You come and help out everybody for him. It makes the band stronger when you help each other. So I'd like to thank them for this man here. He's a quiet man. Okay, buddy. I think that's all we'll do. That's just... we don't need to be putting anything in here. Yeah, that's all we'll do. Okay. Your responsibility is to make sure that everything is education for you, and you have to give back, to our younger people, to our sons, to our daughters, to our nieces and nephews, so they have it very clear in their mind. They have it very clear, in their own families. What belongs to who, what comes from where.
Under the watchful eyes of the elders, the songs and dances are performed again and again until they are right. On May 23, 1993, at Tinwis, in the territory of the Tlaokoyat First Nation, the memorial potlatch for Alice Paul was held. Guests arrived from all the tribes of the Nuu-chah-nulth, as well as from all over British Columbia and even other countries. The first thing to be done was to feed all the people, and a grand feast was put on, prepared and served by the Heshquit people. After the people were fed and the tables cleared, a curtain of one of the Heshquit chiefs was unveiled. The purpose of the curtain is to allow the Heshquit people to welcome their guests and have the visiting tribes and families perform their songs and dances, honoring Alice Paul and the Heshquit people. Before any masks or headdresses are brought out, a ceremony is performed to cleanse the floor. Heshquit Elder Sam Johnson explains.
Cleanse the floor. Bad spirit.
You clean the floor, and then when you make the sound, you're chasing out any evil spirits that may be in that room, and all you want is good in there.
As is customary, the host has speakers to speak for him. Larry Paul stands with his two speakers to address the crowd.
My role as a speaker for the Heshquit tribe is that you have to know your culture. You have to know the history of the song and dance, and you have to know the history of the curtain. he just gives me the highlight of what I'm supposed to say, eh? And then he says, no, you know what you're going to be talking about is the history of my mother. So I go back. I use my own words, not Larry's words like that, but because he told me to speak for him.
The Heshquit people perform some songs of welcome. This is especially appropriate for Larry Paul because he has beach rights. This means that traditionally he would be the first person to greet any visitor to the village and welcome them.
It's a eagle tail from an eagle. Not sure. It's the leader of the drumming. It's the drummers go according to the nutcha up here. It's the principle of the nutcha. It's the big shot. It's the boss. It's the leader.
When a chief comes forward to be acknowledged, someone chants for him. One of the Hatwit, or hereditary chiefs from the Tlaoquiat First Nation, is Bob Martin. He is here with his family to honor the memory of Alice Paul and to show support for Larry. One of the songs that belongs to him will be performed. Joe Martin is the son of Bob Martin and is one of the dancers.
Yeah, usually my father will ask me to dance, me or one of my cousins or nephews. Usually there's two of us doing the dance, but my dad usually he'll ask us to do the dance. It's his dance, and I love doing them. It's called Kimsh Kimshla. It's a cedar bark cape and four feathers and stuff on top there. It's got to do with your, I guess, respect for all seasons in life. When you do dance, you listen to these songs and the drum beat, and you just do the steps the way we were talking. There's nothing else. Actually, there's nothing else. For a couple of other dances that I have done, it's the same thing. There's nobody else out there. It's I think, I'm not sure how to describe it, but the closest you would come to the spirit world, I guess. I'm not sure if that's the right phrase, but
It is time for the Heshquit people to bring out their songs and dances. The curtain from the family of Alice Paul is unveiled and the history explained by the speaker.
There were 16 eagles hovering around. And then the eagles just disappeared. And the one that was on the tree went along with them. This was the time his late mother must have passed away then, when the eagles disappeared. That's why they have this on there. Here's the man responsible, because he's the one that done the artwork. And he's a man of knowledge. We see artists, we know of artists that just work for themselves. But this young man, he always consults his elders first before he does anything. How, when, how am I supposed to do this? And this is the man that's going to be one of our leaders in the years to come. Because he's interested, he's got that feeling inside him of our culture.
The dancers prepare for the hunter's dance, which is a fun dance using the masks carved by Tim Paul and Buddy George. A potlatch usually lasts all night long. When the energy gets a little low, it's time to do the quikwasla and get the audience involved again.
And where that originated, the Quikwasla, was from Alaska. Heshquit fur seal hunters, they traded two songs and two dances, and this was one of them, Quikwasla. They gave the Alaskan Indians song and a dance for this Quikwasla.
Songs are often sent along with the daughter of a chief when she marries into another tribe. In this way, alliances were formed between different tribes and different families. Pat Charlson is the owner of this song, which is danced by his son and his granddaughter.
The dance itself came from Ihattasit, from my grandmother. She took it with her when she married my grandfather. We did this dance more or less to support Lawrence, this memorial, which is customary too with our people. A number of chiefs will get up and sort of support and let people know how they stand in a tribe, what your position, your seating as we call it. And we were supporting Lawrence. We give some money to help him out because in a thing like that they usually give out money, and there was some other things there like dishes and what have you, you know, some apples and oranges, and that was more or less just to help out. This is sort of customary.
Mike Tom, the Hutworth from the family of Alice Paul, brings out his hymn keats for the final performance of the potlatch. After months of preparation and hard work, the potlatch is almost over. There's just one more task to be completed. The curtain is rolled up and gifts are given out to the guests.
when you're doing something for those very big chiefs, you know, what we call Hatwi, you know, you do for families, you do for the education of our younger people and younger artists coming up. So we know who we are. We know where we come from that house, from this house. So we're clear, and we have something to really put forward to our upcoming generations, you know, as we become elders.